criticism from the old conservatives in this one, so we will like to listen to what the old conservatives are saying now about old Carney and the government. All right, let's roll.
Conservative Party leader Pierre Poilievre is calling on the Prime Minister to show more, quote, backbone in U.S. trade talks, writing a letter to Carney over the weekend saying,
he wrote him a letter.
For the past year and a half, you have backed down to one American demand after another while getting nothing in return, with concession after concession. This comes as part of Poilievre's push to change Carney's approach as Canada hunts for a tariff-free deal.
What we are saying is that Canada has leverage. Let's use it.
Like
no
what,
more caving,
though?
no more unilateral concessions without any gains in return. Use our leverage at the table to get the win.
I don't think Pierre. I think I don't think Pierre got the balls to do that to old buddy Trump. They're best buddies.
For more on the Conservatives' approach, I'm joined by
him.
Alberta MP and Conservative critic for Canada-U.S. relations, Shuvaloy Majumdar. Thank you very much for joining us. Appreciate that. Pierre Poilievre was out today talking about finding positive leverage. What is that, and what does that look like?
It's a great question. I mean, for the last year and a half, we had the chance to really build the strength of this country in the face of these unjustified tariffs.
An Alberta MP. Oh, God, this is going to be bad.
None of us agree with the fact that President Trump uses Canadians like a punching bag.
And by that, I mean amazing.
That's why Conservatives called on major decisions to increase our domestic strength. That meant hardening our borders, animating our defense sector, proposing a strategic minerals and energy supply for tariff-free access to the United States and to others, to unleash our resources and repeal anti-development legislation that is locking away trillions of dollars of investment our economy needs. And
this is like Pierre's line, right? The valuable minerals, the rare earths, folks, the rare earths. They're called rare earths. Okay, rare earths. I can't. I don't know how. I can't. But anyway, they just think that it's going to just unlock Canada to be like some sort of global power. It's not happening. Whoever's pushing this on the Pierre side he's just in the pocket of whoever owns that company, guaranteed.
That would increase supply between Canada and the United States.
Same way Daniel Smith is fucking always rallying for oil.
All of the big decisions, the transformational things that Pierre Poilievre had recommended since the election and well beyond, that Conservatives have been prepared to vote for day in, day out.
Listen, the Liberals have been doing all the defense shit. They love the defense shit right now.
All of those decisions were ones that have been squandered over the last year and a half by the Prime Minister. He's resulting in a weak negotiation with the United States where, as you noted, concession after concession after concession has been on display. We want to win for Canadian auto workers, lumber workers, steel workers, and aluminum workers. We want
what concession though? What
and an end to the anxiety that
I'm just gonna be honest. Like, what concession stands out where it's like, oh, Carney, it sucked. You just ate it on that one. The bridge deal, like, I really don't understand which concession is it.
As a result of this cost of waiting. So those are the types of things that I think could have been focused on over the last year and a half.
One thing that we've seen with the Trump administration, it has been consistent in that all of the new trade deals that either announces or it signs, each one, the country that the agreement is with, they have to still face some form of tariff. It could be the tariff is lower, but there's some sort of tariff involved. Do you take a look at that and put that into the consideration with the way you criticize the Carney government to say, you know, do you think that there is a realistic place Canada can land with no additional tariffs before Donald Trump returns to office?
That's a fair question to ask the Prime Minister and to the government.
No fucking way.
Let me take your question at its face as well. Canada and the United States are at an inflection point. This is a once-in-a-generation negotiation. For the first time in 40 years, we're renegotiating our North American context. That's been what's happening over the last few years. This has been predictable for us. What that means is that while one arrangement, which was formed at the end of the Cold War with the end of the Soviet Empire.
A tragedy.
A new arrangement is being formed for North America, and arrangements around the world are being negotiated, to your point. As a result of the rise of Beijing, their challenge to our supply chains, the weaponization of their commerce, of energy,
I love that. Their supply chains are scary. Yeah, we helped build their fucking supply chains. What do you think happened? North American investment went to China for their cheap labor.
Technology of investment. What that would have meant for Canada is to actually take these negotiations seriously and to remember that our geography defines our national and economic security. We are North America. We've always had an exceptional arrangement with the United States spanning Republican and Democratic administrations and Congresses. That's the task the Prime Minister signed up for a year and a half
Make
ago.
Alberta
That's
part
a
of
task that we
America.
understand as Conservatives we had to meet in this moment for our people. And that's why we should always be pursuing an exceptional arrangement in North America for the Canadian worker, for Canadian families, and for Canadian sovereignty.
When you say take these negotiations seriously, what specifically do you mean?
What do you
think
want?
the Carney government is taking the negotiations seriously?
I'm not confident, based on what I'm hearing or what you might be hearing and what I'm hearing in reports, that we're seeing anything materially different from what was on the table back in October. I don't understand what these so-called negotiations have produced that's materially different over the last year and a half, what gains have been won for Canadians. All we have seen are concessions after concessions after concessions, whether it's rightful ones like on the defense defense of our border, the thickening of our border.
That's like the line, right? That's whoever made that in the boardroom. I'm not sure if it's gonna hit. Concession. They really want that to stick.
Or
that's for sure.
Repealing the Netflix tax, or wrongful ones like the Gordie Howe Bridge, where we're paying the Americans before we could pay back ourselves for the debt.
Oh, the Netflix tax. Yeah, that's pretty shit, to be honest. You should be taxing companies. But this fucking a corporate piece of shit should be like, oh my God, like this conservative is so stupid, because he should be like, yes, we cut taxes for American companies so they'll invest in Canada. That's what the conservative approach should be. We cut taxes so we have more investment opportunities for Canada, shit like that. Oh no, it's a concession
on building the bridge. What I've seen instead in Prime Minister Carney and Minister LeBlanc and his ministers and the cabinet is a march to Beijing, a march to organize European middle power diplomacy.
Really?
Proposing fantastical ideas like synthetic
the
currencies
middle power
with Europe,
diplomacy
to counter the American dollar.
Okay, this guy's going away. On the There's no way. This guy's going full Alberta. This guy is going full Alberta right now.
We need to do domestically, at least at a minimum. Let's give the benefit of the doubt that the government should diversify our markets.
He's going full Alberta. He's saying fucking Canada's moving to China, snuggling up to China, calming China, middle powers, Europe bullshit.
We should also be pursuing diversity in the American market. Where have the march of cabinet ministers been to California, Florida, Texas, New York, to the industrial heartland, which is impacted by our agriculture and manufacturing potential? Where has been the intensity that a government should be bringing to bear in defense of the Canadian worker? I think that Conservatives would have managed this entire crisis very differently to the benefit of our country.
I really doubt
Something
it.
you said in that answer stands out to me.
I don't know what Conservatives would do, because at the end of the day, both Conservatives and Liberals are beholden to their capitalist gods, their capitalist daddies. So whatever the capitalist daddies want is what the capitalist daddies are going to get. So I really don't know how, like, the Conservatives aren't going to fucking escalate with Trump if that's not what the daddies want.
Talking about concessions, and you sort of categorize them as good concessions and bad concessions, and I don't think I've heard that from the Conservatives yet. You talk about the Gordie Howe, the concessions there when it comes to the revenues. You classified that as a bad one, but other concessions you think are good concessions. What do you mean by that?
For the last decade, Katie, we've seen our country in a form of managed decline. We've seen $1 trillion of capital flow from Canada to the United States.
That's just called capitalism, baby.
Over $100 billion.
Oh, the wealth gap is just getting wider by the day.
Not impacted by the tariff. Over 42 to 43% of the manufacturing sector is looking at shutting down and domiciling in the United States. We're seeing a country that's borders became porous over the last decade. Our capital markets, our real estate markets are snow-washed with illicit capital. We've seen our country abrogate its responsibility to itself. So when I say that there are hard and good decisions that Canada should have been making, those decisions should be made in the context of a North American negotiation with Washington and with the world. And that's not what we've seen as the kind of backbone we expect the Canadian government.
Do you think Canada has any position? Do you think we're equal powers here, buddy? Canada is so tiny. Our economies do not compare. You think Canada is side by side working as like equal beneficiaries, equal partners to like take on the world? No, it's fucking America or fuck you. That's what it is.
To have on behalf of the Canadian people.
But does the Conservative Party see some concessions as good concessions versus bad concessions?
Oh yeah, the leader has made it very clear. Like, we needed to repeal the digital service tax and the Netflix tax. We needed to thicken our border. We needed to make all of these choices in rebuilding our defense industrial base.
See, I told you really would like it. I told you.
Decade.
I
These are all
fucking knew
decisions
you would say that shit.
The government needed to take. Pierre Poilievre won the consensus on that direction of our country in the last election. Liberals were maybe inspired by the things that we've been talking about. And those are good decisions that we should have married into a negotiation for North America.
I love that. I love the thing where it's like, oh, these fucking liberals stole our idea, dude. Just further points shows me that we have a monopoly. We have a duopoly? We don't have a democracy, okay? Both parties, one economy, both parties with the same fucking stupid strategy. It's horrible.
When Jamieson Greer, who's the U.S. Trade Representative, when a question was put to him in the past 6 weeks or so, saying, you know, why is it that the Americans have not given Canada credit for some of those concessions they've made? And he made the argument, you know,
why would they
make a mess of something, you don't get rewarded when you clean it up. I'm very curious. What do you make of when he says things like that?
I don't really have a lot of time to comment about what the USTR might have to say about Canadian politics. That's not my business. My role is to advocate for Canadian workers, for
trade
Canadian families,
representative,
and for Canadian sovereignty, and independent of whatever comes out of Washington, whether it's right or wrong, and what comes out of America, which is a big, diverse country with a lot of wide-ranging set of views. I know what we need to deliver for Canadians. I know what a serious negotiation looks like, and I have to go talk to the workers, the families, and the people who are anxious because they don't have a deal.
Okay, on that point, August 19th,
yes, the workers don't have a deal.
CBC News indicates that the Canadians
expressed
to the Americans.
The workers who own all these steel factories are getting fucked by the tariffs,
look,
dude.
These tariffs come into effect. This is a make or break moment. There's going to be no political appetite in Canada to keep negotiating if you hit us with another tariff. If Donald Trump makes good on his threat and doesn't push it down the road again, or what they call Taco Trump, always chickens out. If they come into force,
tariffs are coming.
What would you like to see the government do? Do you want to see retaliation? What would you do?
So in my previous roles of having advised Prime Minister Harper's government, can tell you that trade negotiations are complex. The Prime Minister has our support in dealing with a tough and unpredictable negotiator. And he also has the respect that the country expects, which is, let's see the deal that they negotiate. Let's see what's announced. I remember back.
I think, again, I don't know. I think I've reiterated this point, but like, I think this whole like, oh, Trump's so volatile, crazy, and who knows, he's unpredictable, is a cop-out, because there is a method to the madness, I believe. There are teams and infrastructures behind Trump pushing for whatever material economic shit he wants to do with his own pizzazz, sure, but at the end of the day, again, capitalist daddies, the government is beholden to them. So it's not like Trump's just, oh, he's just so crazy, he's just out of nowhere. It's like there is institutional backing behind what is happening.
In my time in service, we'd spend a lot more time with opposition critics, with some briefings and some opportunities and some insight. We haven't seen that. I don't think the premiers are seeing that. I'm not sure the media are seeing as much transparency in how these negotiations are being handled. And so I think it'd be reasonable.
Well, no shit. What is it, like a broadcasted courtroom?
If there is a
Ted Bundy documentary.
And then we'll come back to pronounce on it.
Okay, thank you so much for your time today.
Appreciate you, Kitty.
This professional
thank you so much,
32
Katie.
terabytes SS.
Are we gonna get to the power panel next? Oh, my favorite part of the segment, the power panel, everyone.
Won't find at Best Buy.
Is that what we're gonna go into next? The power
Canada
panel.
Need to change course. Time now for the power panel. Vandana Qatar was an advisor to former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau.
Baby.
Here with me in studio, Kate Harrison is a conservative political analyst, and Rob Russo is the Canada correspondent for The Economist. And every single time, Rob, you're here, I always say, "You're my former boss. You're the former bureau chief here."
And somehow I'm not vilified for it.
Not on camera.
That's right.
All right, let's start because today it is Pierre Poilievre was out today. Kate, I want to start with you. What do you make of this new line of attack against the government in terms of the way that the negotiations are going?
concessions.
I think that Poilievre is right to focus on the time that has been wasted and passed since these negotiations began.
Sure.
Really what we're
Everyone's
seeing
all anxious. We need answers.
It's not all that different than a lot of the terms that were being discussed last October. So it begs the question,
we're just waiting
what has
we're
the government been
grinding
up
it
to in that time? And when we
We're
think about the
grinding like
approach
the
that
fourth
hasn't
line out
worked,
here.
it has been this piecemeal, kind of sectoral-based approach. Alcohol here, concession there. I think in the absence of a bigger and better trade deal, it's going to be very difficult to rationalize to Canadians and perhaps more acutely to premiers
beautiful
that
trade
this
deal.
is in the best interest of all parties.
Vandana, what do you make of it?
I think that's actually Mr. Poilievre trying to get into the conversation, really. I think
Yeah, Poilievre's
last year,
trying his
during the
best to be
election,
relevant.
people chose that Mr. Carney would be the best person to try to get a deal. I think largely, especially look at the polling, Canadians are behind the opportunity he's presenting
she's the
right
Trudeau
now. I think
advisor?
people
Oh,
know
boy.
that negotiations are long, and we saw this last time as well. Mr. Trump, he escalates threats as a way to get negotiations going, to maybe try to get more of his cards on the table. So we've seen this before.
Pressure.
It's going to happen again. I think the
News.
positive thing is that Dominic LeBlanc and Janice Charette have been in Washington both last week and this week.
You have an underbite? What's going on here?
A diplomacy
like
is
the
going to be a
voice,
two-way
though.
street. There's going to be give and
It'd
take.
be a great
And there's going to
ASMR.
be a lot of backseat driving from the opposition on this. But I think for the most part, Canadians are comfortable and they're willing to wait and see, especially as they see more pressure on the U.S. You saw two unions write to Donald Trump as well, talking about they're asking to reconsider the tariffs. So I think people know that if we wait a bit longer, perhaps we can get a better deal for Canada.
Rob, what do you make of the moment?
I think the moment is late.
Why do they
I
always
wonder
have this
why-
person on the TV? Bring me in on the TV if you're going to connect someone in on the TV.
Mr. Poilievre didn't make this intervention a year ago or a year and a half ago during the election campaign. I think it would have been more politically fruitful for him to do that. As it stands now, it
What, to
seems
rally
to ring,
that
and Mr.
Carney's gonna
Poilievre's
take
a
forever?
Churchillian, so I'll
get a
try to
deal?
echo Churchill. It seems to be offering all aid short of help. It would seem that the government is prepared to give up certain things, but only in the event of a comprehensive deal. I think Kate's right that they have been like Gumby bending over backwards and gotten absolutely nothing in return.
That is
that the Prime Minister no longer wants to give away what he calls, and what is it, trade negotiators are calling, gold coins.
But isn't that what Trump always says? Peace through strength. Basically, it's like let Trump, do you in the closet from behind. Don't tell anybody. And if you are a good little boy, you might get no tariffs. Okay, big daddy. I don't know. Like it's like literally peace through strength. It's like just let me abuse you. And if you do not retaliate, you might be good.
They no longer want to give away any of the gold coins unless there is a comprehensive deal. And if there is a comprehensive deal, then it would make sense
Gold coins.
To give away some stuff that you're probably going to give away anyway
Arms?
in other instances. I also was
Missiles?
struck by the intervention of the representative from the Quebec government. I think it's indicative of how much things have changed in these negotiations compared to past negotiations when provinces who represent regional interests, not the national interests, were kept well informed, well briefed, and well away from the cabinet table. They seem to have an inordinate amount of say in what the national government is going to do. And
The United Front,
think
baby.
It's inevitable that somebody like Donald Trump is going to do nothing but feast on the differences between the national government and the provincial governments.
Trade talks are expected
Maybe.
to pick up again this week.
We know
Janice
Daniel Smith
Charette
will just
is in
brown nose him
Washington,
wherever he
DC right now,
goes.
but we got a statement from Dominic LeBlanc's office. He was on his way to Washington today. I don't know if this is something symbolic
Oh, no.
or something bigger picture. There's something to
Uh-oh.
take away from this, but his flight actually got diverted, had to go back to Montreal because of weather. My friends in Washington, D.C. right now, my Washington, D.C. group chat is exploding because apparently there's a crazy storm down there as we're getting weather alerts here in Ottawa about weather warnings here.
No, not
but
the trade deal.
So they are expected to sort
Can't
of
they do this shit
get
on
some
Zoom?
FaceTime with the key
Why do you gotta go in
stakeholders
person?
again. But in this
Maybe it's like the spies are hacking,
moment, Kate,
listening.
in our reporting here at CBC, sources have expressed to us that the Canadians made it very clear to the Americans that if these new tariffs come to effect on August 19th, that it's sort of a
8
make or break
days
moment.
away.
That Canada is not, there's not going to be the political space in Canada to keep negotiating if they hit Canada with this next round of tariffs. If there isn't tariff relief, if they don't go away, is it time to retaliate and step up the retaliation?
I think before crossing that bridge,
There's no
you really
way.
need to exhaust all options. Like this tariff dispute is
How the one thing about the tariff thing is like, how can you be like, oh, tariffs are an import tax, it's hurting. So technically, when you hit Canada with a tariff, your Americans are being hurt. Like that's like what Carney, Ford, all these people say. Then how can you go out and be like, oh well, we got to counter tariff them back and get them where it hurts? You're gonna have to take a little bit of pain, but come on now.
Painful for everyone, which is again why I come back to the time that could have been taken 10 months ago to sit down and have these conversations of substance, compared to now. Again, the terms haven't really changed based on the reporting in terms of what's being discussed and on the table. To know that our government kind of faffed about for the last 10 months without discussing these items of substance should be really concerning, particularly to sectoral workers who are looking for that relief. So I think rather than focus on what negative retaliation could we deploy, every effort
about the workers, not about the fucking owner of the company.
The best possible outcome for workers, and
who
that
needs
includes
to sell
a prime minister who is
product
engaged consistently
to the U.S.
And I find it very odd that he would take this particular week to choose to go to Italy for reduced hours, vacation. It depends on which outlet that you're looking at. But I think that given he put up his hand for this specific job, not the job of a prime minister, prime ministers are entitled to take some time off and vacation, but this specific moment with a 50% tariff hanging overhead for $20 billion of impacted goods to be overseas, I think sends entirely the wrong message to workers that are begging for his leadership at a time that he committed to do that for Canadians.
Vandana, what do you make of the point that Kate just made?
I think
yeah, libtard, what do you think?
Leadership from this prime minister. We've seen expanded job numbers that are going
Carney.
4 times the rate of the U.S. We see the increased investment into Canada. We've seen 20 economic partnerships signed by Canada. So I think they know that while he is also focused on the U.S., he's not just focused on the U.S. because we no longer can just.
They always do this though. Every time someone flies away during some sort of thing, it's like, oh, he's running. It's like there wasn't like a natural disaster he's running from. Yeah, Trump and the negotiation table is probably going to like grind to a halt until the deadline. Sorry, I'm going to Italy.
Traditionally a reliable partner. So I think people know that. And also, Minister LeBlanc and Janet Charest are heading to D.C. Maybe they're diverted right now, but they're going to get there. They were there last week as well, and they're having good conversations there. So I think the Prime Minister is not that his eye is off the ball. I think people know he's entitled vacation. I think anyone who also knows this Prime Minister knows that he doesn't actually take a vacation. I'm sure he'll be making calls as he has to. But Minister LeBlanc is there and facing and talking to the right people. So I think
he might as well just be at Mar-a-Lago golfing with Trump.
People have trust in this on having the economy in Prime Minister Carney's hands and trust in the team that he also has support of.
Rob, to Kate's point, do you think there's an optics issue there?
Yes, 2 words, Justin Trudeau. I don't understand why a subsequent prime minister would not have learned the lesson that it may be not as glamorous, but while you're the Prime Minister of Canada, particularly at a time when Canadians are deciding that they're going to vacation closer to home, that you would vacation closer to home. The other thing I would point out is that there are 20,000 people who are being displaced in British Columbia.
He didn't go to the U.S. though. Hey, he didn't go to the U.S.
Requiring perhaps a military response, a federal military response.
What the fuck did you just say?
Closer to home. The other thing I would point out is that there are 20,000 people who are being displaced in British Columbia
the fires.
right now, requiring perhaps a military response, a federal military response. I think it would behoove the Prime Minister to be here. And if you're a nosy reporter,
because it's like everyone's struggling. What is he supposed to be? Well, I don't get it. Everyone is struggling to some capacity. Is he just supposed to sit and cry in a corner? It is funny the approach that
inquiry. Where's he
people
staying?
take.
Who's putting him up?
Experience
Me.
and empowered.
My tax dollars.
To deliver actionable
Oh, damn it.
insights that inspire growth and sustainability.
Actually, I don't make enough money to get. I get money back in taxes.
The Connect Effect.
I'm poor in the ghetto. My baby was born in the ghetto.
I understand. It seems the ethics commissioner has cleared him on this. What were the conditions that had to be cleared in order for this to happen?
The ethics of what? Leaving the country?
Quite frankly, I think it's a
that had to pass the ethics board.
Mistake. You're in Canada. Canadians are staying home. It's a wonderful country to travel, and I think he should probably be here.
There was a statement from the Prime Minister's office. Here's how they're describing it in this moment.
Really
They
don't
say
matter to me.
Prime Minister will be on, quote unquote, a reduced schedule the week of August 10th. He'll be in Italy for personal commitments until August 17th. Media advisories will come out per normal. It says during this time, he is in close contact with his team and officials on several priorities, including the Canada-U.S. trade negotiations. As those, Dominic LeBlanc is leading that right now. Will be in Washington at some point this week. Are you anticipating that the rhetoric could get worse before it gets better as we head closer, Kate, to that August 19th deadline?
Hopefully not. I mean, it does sound like from the information that's available, the conversations are heading in a more positive direction than just the kind of, the pro forma. They've been productive discussions, but you don't get much detail. But I do think that we're getting a lot of that information from the Americans. There's not a lot of information coming forward from the Canadian government and Canadian sources. And again, like we talked about last week, this is not about unveiling your term sheet. And to an earlier point that I think Rob had mentioned, there's a lot of parties that have been left in the dark in terms of where we sit with this, the premiers included. And you saw some of that frustration really start to boil over at the Council of the Federation. So if premiers are in the dark, and a lot of major sectors are in the dark,
closed-door meetings,
Canadians
no
are
shit.
in the dark. And the Prime Minister is away. Again, I don't think that it conveys the right message to Canadians that this is your number one issue, when again, it was the Prime Minister that really raised the stakes of this trade dispute. He called this the worst
conservatives
crisis,
got nothing
up since the Second World War.
I'm sorry, but like conservatives critique, these conservatives are garbo. They're just doing the classic, oh, he's running away, Canada needs him. But it's like, this is what you do when like Ted Cruz flees from a natural disaster, not this. Like, what is this?
Closing pitch to voters in April of 2025. So to be very casual about the information that is shared with Canadians about that, given that was really the crux of his election pitch and his closing sales pitch, I think there's a big delta between what he sold and what a lot of Canadians are expecting and what they're actually getting right now in terms of his commitments to provide that information and those updates.
Vandana, what do you make of what Canadians should be
What do you think of all these conservatives'
knowing
critiques?
that Donald Trump can be volatile at times. At times might be a very generous statement, but that Donald Trump can be volatile, especially with a deadline hanging over Canada-U.S. relations in this moment?
I think they should assume that that's still going to be the case, that he will say one thing online.
Trump is going to Trump, baby.
That is how he likes to conduct himself, whereas the Prime Minister isn't going to negotiate in public. He's not going to show his cards. He's going to focus on the task at hand. But I think Canadians now know this. They know this from the previous administration. While there were other characters in the other administration that can help support with Donald Trump and negotiating with him, I think people expect that from him, which is why I think they trust the Prime Minister in focusing on the Canadian economy and focusing on other trade partners and new partners that we haven't considered before. I think they know that this is something new. I think that is why they actually elected him. I think they wanted someone who would understand exactly what's happening, who would think that, okay, we're going to go back in time and continue this traditional relationship with the U.S., that we'll have to open our eyes to a different type of relationship. But I think the closer we get to it, I think you'll see a bit more coming out of it. I think, again, the more that Mr. LeBlanc is in D.C. and having this conversation, give Canadians comfort that something will come out that will also ultimately be positive for Canada.
Rob, being a journalist, can you imagine this? There is a deal to be announced, and the Prime Minister is not in the country to sort of own.
I don't think that would happen.
Oh, no.
So that to me indicates that if Mark Carney is willing to go away and go on vacation or do reduced hours or whatever, go on vacation, does that suggest to you that we might be a little bit away from any sort of agreement? Like he felt he could go away because you would need to be home to announce something. That would be my understanding of how a government
perhaps. But let me flip that around. We have now Minister LeBlanc, who's
why can't someone else just make the announcement?
That's a suggestion that the talks have intensified. We have not had this kind of pace in the discussions. That being said, there are a lot of thorny issues. This is very complicated material. And then it has to go to the Twitch president, to President Trump. Who knows how he's going to react to a deal made by Jameson Greer.
The Twitch president. I was like, the Twitch streaming.
This president CEO. You know that is having
Jeff
been in Washington
Bezos.
for the last few years. So I
Doesn't he own
would take
Twitch?
some comfort in the fact that the minister and Madame Charette are still down there, have been down there in 2 or 3
they're just down there working so hard.
I would not at all. Would anybody really be surprised if there was an extension on the 338 tariffs on August the 19th? No one would be surprised. Is the government prepared for
the tariffs are coming?
I think that the government is prepared for that. But I don't know that many people expect that will happen. I think that all of us should also expect that even if those are extended or...
One thing I will say is, like, I don't know. Carney said, like, Carney has to provide something, right? Like, and I don't know what that is. I don't know what kind of deal is gonna get done. I don't know how massive it's going to be, if it's going to be even anything substantial, but I'm interested.
Put aside for a
so
little
far,
while,
sure, it's been a little milk toasty.
Threaten us with is because, of course, the Prime Minister controls the flow of and currents of air in the country. He's going to hit us with tariffs attached to wildfire smoke. That'll be the next one. I would assume that we should be prepared for.
It's it's another power grab in an ongoing negotiation. I would also not be surprised if they do extend it, because we've seen Donald Trump do this before through 1.0 during his first administration, and then again in his second administration. We've seen it time after time after time, and you have to take it seriously. So the Canadian government has to prepare, and Canadian workers, and you have to brace for it. But at the same time, it is this way.
What is this? I love like this thing where they just throw in every time they say Canada, they just throw in workers for whatever reason. Canada has to prepare. I mean, the workers got to prepare. What the fuck do you mean the fucking workers? I don't own a fucking steel company. I don't own a car manufacturing plant. I'm not a capitalist. Oh, the workers got to prepare for what? Losing my job just so I can go back to the same shitty job once the market conditions are better? Thanks.
Try and squeeze concession after concession after concession out of whether you're dealing with Canada, Mexico, or any of your trading partners. It's the art of the deal, right? It's the art of the deal.
It does seem, and I wrote about this for the magazine this week, that there is some delight in making Canada an example. He did come after us first with tariffs.
Canada's a nesty.
Nobody in Europe took the threat of his musing about our integrity as a nation too seriously until Denmark was on the table, and then all of a sudden they took it more seriously. The fact that Canada alone is facing the Smoot-Hawley tariffs, I think, is indicative of the fact that we're a great,
was it the labor
big,
tariffs?
Canary in Donald Trump's coal mine.
And the way that has sort of played out over the last few months, the Trump administration, when you chat with people sort of behind the scenes, they really continuously bring up the point. We've talked about it here on the Power Panel about how Canada and China are the only two countries who retaliated, and it was brought up to me by some people from the Trudeau government. And Vandana, we've got 45 seconds left. Do you think that Canada sort of was left in the wind here, with other countries not being willing to sort of stand up to Donald Trump? Did that catch the Trudeau government by surprise when he rolled out all the tariffs against everyone else?
I don't think so. I think I think Donald Trump underestimated Canada and didn't think that we would have this retaliation, this desire from Canadians. I can see articles in like the New York Times about New York.
It just doesn't make sense because China is an economic superpower. Canada can't really do tariff for tariff.
So far,
or anything
either
like
way,
that.
was there a surprise? No, but I think Canada in that moment knew that we have a very different relationship with the U.S.
And it was like, sure, we'll hit you back.
Would it catch us off guard?
The only other person besides China. And the thing is, we're not China, so I think we're bluffing a bit there. But that's power politics, Power Panel. Carney is putting Canada in a weak position. Is he? I don't know. A waiting game at this point. Anyway.